Thank you, David.
Thank you.
Got on your man. Sam, please.
Kia ora koutou. Commend you for being 10 minutes ahead. I submit on a lot of LTPs all over the country and have done for many years, despite living in Christchurch myself. I wonder, given that we're a professional association of over 5,000 members and my submission was over 6,000 words long, I might be afforded 10 minutes.
We'll see how we go. You're very lucky that some people haven't turned up, so we'll see. Far away.
I feel very lucky and very cheeky.
Yes.
Recreation Aotearoa is the professional and industry association in the active recreation sector. As I mentioned, we have over 5,000 members. Newly released findings from a social return on investment study reveal that each dollar allocated to play, active recreation and sport yields a social return of $2.12 in New Zealand. In essence, every dollar invested in these activities results in more than a twofold social return. Overall health benefits to New Zealand amount to $9 billion, but this is only half of the net social value generated by physical activity. Individuals who meet physical activity recommendations were found to have a 51% higher likelihood of experiencing healthy mental well-being. 74% of New Zealanders agree that sport and physical activity help build vibrant and stimulating communities. 84% of New Zealanders believe that sport and physical activity bring people together and create a sense of belonging. Play and active recreation serves a therapeutic and rehabilitative function in aiding young people to recover in the aftermath of crises such as earthquakes or the impact of COVID-19. Local government is critical to the play, active recreation and sports sector. It's been recently established that total funding to that sector is $4 billion annually. That was in 2022, and over 25% of this, over $1 billion, is from local government. Local government funding of the sector far exceeds that of the entirety of central government and Class 4 gaming grants combined. In 2023, the Parliamentary Commission of the Environment published a report titled "Are We Building Harder, Hotter Cities?" and it makes many salient points. In recent decades, urban intensification has reduced both the quality and quantity of urban green space. Infill housing removes gardens, lawns, trees and soil, and in some cases, parks and green spaces are repurposed for other uses. Grass berms, shrubbery and trees adjacent to streets are reduced or removed. The report goes into some detail and provides numerous examples and evidence of the important role green spaces provide. Recreation Aotearoa submits that the long-term plan should pay much more attention in regard to the provision and expansion of urban green space in Christchurch and tree planting within Christchurch. This should specifically focus on areas adjacent to streets and footpaths, which are known to be the most popular places in which physical activity takes place. We face a future in which, without adequate tree cover, it may simply be too hot to be physically active outdoors in summer. Sydney and Melbourne are proving an exemplar of this phenomenon. Recreation in Christchurch. We'd like to acknowledge that Christchurch City Council for their support and contribution towards the Greater Christchurch Spaces and Places Plan in partnership with Sport Canterbury and adjacent councils, such as Selwyn and Waimak, of course. We note that 52% of young people in Canterbury use active transport to and from school, and this is the highest percentage in all of New Zealand. The Sport New Zealand Active New Zealand survey reveals that 39% of young people in Canterbury do not do enough physical activity to meet Ministry of Health recommendations. I'll say that again. In Christchurch, in Canterbury, 39% of young people do not meet the Ministry of Health recommendations for physical activity, and this is a significant decline from previous years. The same survey revealed that there are significant levels of unmet demand in New Zealand, in the Canterbury region. A large majority of residents in Christchurch have a desire to do more physical activity. Physical participation is largely non-competitive in Christchurch and indeed New Zealand. 7% of the population here in Christchurch participate in non-competitive activities exclusively. In Canterbury, 72% of young people prefer physical activities that allow them to follow their own schedule rather than someone else's. This percentage has increased significantly in recent years. Similarly, 63% of young people in the region prefer to do physical activity that is more flexible and less structured. This has also increased significantly in recent years. This is further evidenced by a decline in participation in school and club sports teams. We express our support for the Inclusive Communities Coordinator role within Christchurch City Council and commend the work undertaken on the recent equity and inclusion policy. We submit our support for the $820 million investments in developing community and regional parks. That's on page 32. We also submit our support for the $153 million investment in sport and recreation and sport facilities. That's page 33. And we really commend the fact that the accessibility is at the forefront of that investment. We're particularly supportive of the prioritisation of the Aotearoa Avon River Regeneration Program and the prioritisation of the Jelly Park renewal. However, we can't help but notice and express our concern that there exists significant differences between what is documented in the Greater Christchurch Spaces and Places Plan and what is proposed in the draft LTP. Recreation Aotearoa submits that further consideration be given to incorporating much more, if not all, of the Spaces and Places Plan into the LTP. We note that the lease of space at Hagley Park, currently used for outdoor courts, is due to expire within the term of this LTP, and we submit that this space should continue to be used for purposes of play, active recreation and sport. We applaud the fact that despite numerous financial pressures, the LTP does not propose to increase sport and recreation fees and charges. We submit our support for the proposed investment in public transport. We also support the investment by Christchurch City Council in walking and cycling routes. Active transport has this dual symbiotic benefit of reducing traffic congestion and increasing physical activity. As such, we support proposed investments in completing the listed existing projects in the draft LTP and commencing the listed new projects as well. We recognise and support the efforts being made to build resilience to and reduce climate change effects. Specifically, we commend the plan to plant more trees via the Urban Forest Initiative, but as previously outlined, we'd like to see a lot more tree planting, especially adjacent to trees and footpaths. Thank you for the extra time.
That's good. That's fine. Have anyone got any questions? Tyrone? Pauline?
Kia ora, thanks for your submission, Sam. So, are you familiar with the Rod Donald Banks Peninsula Trust?
Vaguely, yep.
Oh, yeah.
As a resident of Cashmere, yep.
Yep. Which, I mean, that was basically the question. I mean, I presume you'd support their activities, and what they do in providing recreation opportunities for people.
Yep.
Just thought I'd sort of float that there.
Yeah, numerous entities exist all over the country and Canterbury that take the pressure off councils and central government to deliver that space. Doc.
Thank you.
Mate. Pauline?
Thank you. In light of your comments about supporting active transport, would you support the council delivering the completed 13 major cycleway routes as early as possible or bring them forward earlier?
Yes, absolutely. We support.
Even if it meant a slight rate increase?
Yep, we submitted in our written submission support for all the active transport initiatives.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Did you have one, Yanni?
I was just trying to understand. You talked about the Spaces and Places plan, which was, I think, facilitated a lot by Sport Canterbury.
Right.
They have been actively involved in our sports network plan.
Yeah.
But you're saying that our LTP doesn't reflect that plan, and I'm just trying to understand, like, what's the gap in the processes where you're not seeing what's in there in our LTP?
Well, granted, the Greater Spaces plan is pretty ambitious and really good, but we've just noted, I can't speak specifically, deferrals and gaps in the budget, which mean that the entirety of the Greater Spaces and plan won't be achieved in the time frame.
Okay.
That's
And
outlined.
have you seen our draft sports network plan, and have you made submissions to it?
No,
Right. Do you think that would be useful?
it would be, yeah.
Okay. Thanks.
Thank you, Yanni. And thank you very much for your effort and your submission. Thank you.
Thank you.
Is Cliff here, please? Thank you.